Hello, my name is Peter Dent. I'm from the History of Art department. So the Exhibita Pro project is part of this new course that we've started running this year, Curating the Object. It's a software package that's used professionally in galleries and in auction houses and museums.
So the project we've been given is we have to create a virtual exhibition, and we've been given the theme of air.
You're allowed to choose images from everywhere, so any gallery you wanted to, and basically it's just your response to what air is to you and your group.
The space we are given is an actual gallery space that we've visited.
Yeah, it's working in a group, it's using the software, it's coming up with an exhibition idea, and we've been given about 6 weeks to do it.
Everyone starts with high expectations of being able to put a lot of paintings in, or massive paintings in, and just understanding that space doesn't always work like that, which has been really interesting, because you think that you can put a massive painting in next to another massive painting, and then you actually visualise it and you're like, oh, actually, it looks awful.
The software is quite user-friendly, so the students actually, once they grasp the basic principles, they were able to use it quite intuitively.
The videos that we've been given online from Exhibita are really helpful. They do a step-by-step process, and also our tutor's been he's very knowledgeable, he seems to know the programme inside out.
It was great seeing them working as groups together, and one person having a go and then handing over to another member of the group to have a go at using it. And broadly speaking, the feedback we've had is tremendously positive. So the alternative from our perspective would be to go back to PowerPoint, but I'd say 99% of the students were really enthusiastic about using Exhibita Pro. I guess what's distinctive about History of Art is we want the students to work with images as much as possible. And so an element of that is that you can construct an argument out of visual material that's just as sophisticated as the kind of argument you can construct out of words on a page. And on one level, at the moment, this is about as sophisticated a way you can do that as possible, because they've got to use a space, they've got to think in three-dimensional terms, they've got to think about the scale of the objects themselves. So although it's virtual material, they've actually got to think about the physical qualities of the works of art, whether they will literally fit into the space. So we got the company to create a space that corresponds precisely, and it really does, to the downstairs exhibition rooms at the Royal West of England Academy. So that's a space the students can actually go to. It's a space our MA students already use to exhibit and curate a small exhibition of real works of art. So it ties in an interesting way with the kind of local context of Bristol, with an institution that we have a partnership with already. And initially, working as groups, we asked them to think without the software at first, how they might address that theme. So to think through conceptually and intellectually the ideas, but then to take those ideas into the software and start experimenting. I mean, I think there's always one or two students who don't like working with, to a certain extent, something new. So it's a question of getting them into a place where they're comfortable working with a new type of assessment, so that's always an anxiety.
Digitally, I think to all of us is probably a bit of a challenge because we're art history students.
Unfortunately, things like art history is a bit of a dated kind of field, and it is a very kind of manual, kind of traditional set in its ways. But I think nowadays people are trying to use a lot of software, and especially digital software like this, that lets you visualize it without actually having to physically set up an exhibition.
Group work itself is a slight anxiety with students because of the issues around marking group work. But I mean, broadly speaking, when you look at it from the outside as a tutor, and you've got 3 or 4 groups working side by side, all clustered around the kind of dedicated PCs we've got here that the university provided that have the right kind of graphics cards in them. It really makes a difference to see them work together in that way. And I would say it's a real positive. It's the kind of positive we'll probably only see pay off in the coming year, to have that cohesion within the year group. So setting it up was a good thing right from the word go. So we had the backing of the department, we had the backing of TEL in financial terms to make this happen, and I think we've got initially we've got 3 years of licenses to develop this. One of the things we'd really like to do it concerns one area where the software is perhaps slightly weaker, and that's in dealing with sculpture. So to put a piece of sculpture into this three-dimensional space, at the moment, the simplest way of doing it is to effectively put a flat JPEG into the space, and it turns to face you as you move around the virtual environment. But there's scope for putting in a fully three-dimensional model into that space as well, and we've had a brief conversation with the company about how we might do that. And a possibility we'd like to pursue, which already arose as a conversation early on when we were looking at these different ways of doing virtual exhibitions, is to get some of the computer engineering students to build, something they already do as part of their projects, to build 3D models of a piece of sculpture, for example, in collaboration with the groups that we have working within History of Art. I mean, that would be, to get students working across departments in that way and across faculties, that would be the dream. If there's any place you can do that, I think Bristol's one of those places. You know, the kind of digital side of things is really strong.